How to create your very own monogram or logo for your wedding stationery using Canva. Hey guys, it's Rebecca from Bride and today I've got a Canva tutorial for you showing you how to create your very own wedding logo or monogram that you could use on something like your wedding stationery. If you're new to Canva, basically what it is a graphic design tool, but you really don't need a graphic design degree to use it. It's very simple and straightforward, but you can also develop it to quite an advanced looking level and create really professional looking content. So today we're obviously focusing on logo design. It's super accessible and so many of the tools and items are free to use. So they do have pro version, which I do have, but I think everything I've used here is available on the free platform. And also everything here that I'm showing you is really adaptable to your own needs. So obviously all the lettering, even the elements of the design, such as the leaves and things, again, really easy to change into what might be more suitable for you. I'm showing you lots of different techniques in how to achieve this. So again, if you're looking for something slightly different, the methodology that I'm using might be helpful for you in terms of applying it to what you're doing. So as you can see, I am at canva.com. It has so many templates that you can work from. You can also start from scratch, but I think if you're starting out, it's a great way to start by working from a template, which you can adapt or add to or take away from. So that's what we're going to do today. So you come up to the search bar here, click in there, and we're just going to type in monogram and see what comes up. So you can try any of these, like monogram logos is great. Okay. Have a scroll through and see what appeals to you. And you can really just, as I say, adapt any of these really easily. I'm gonna go with, let's pick this one here. So you just click on it. So it gives you a couple of versions. Let's do this. So customize this template. So it drops it in. As you see on the left hand side here, you've still got a lot of other options if you've sort of opened it and changed your mind. I'm actually also quite liking this one over here, so I might just come down, add a page and drop that in there so I have that as well. Yeah. I'm going to clear off the white one because we don't need both. Okay, so as you can see, there's like text boxes that it's dropped in. So you can just double click in there and type over there the initials that you need, for example, and again. So when you've typed in your own letters, you might find that the spacing doesn't quite work anymore in the way that it had originally. So if you need to move things, what you can do is click on that text box and then simply tap again and then drag it around to wherever you want. Maybe like that there. Yeah. And same with the numbers. So you can simply type over those. If the background color doesn't match your kind of color scheme or what you're going for, you can click on that background and then come up to the top left here where it says background color. If you hover over it and click on it, as you see, there's a whole myriad of colors you could pick from here, from sort of this gradient color to a solid, bright, bold colors, or obviously the color you started with. The color you started with, if you change your mind, is still going to be up here at the top. If you want a slightly different shade, you can click on that color. You see where it's got these little toggles, and it will let you click the circle and drag it around, and as you can see, it's altering the color of the logo on my screen. Once you're happy, just let go and click out of it. Okay, and it's like that. If you want to add a little extra something just to kind of make it a bit more interesting, you can come over here to where it says elements on the left side. type in anything you want. So let's try floral outline. Okay, let's see all. Okay, so we've got some really pretty graphics here. I'm going to pick this leafy design. All I did there was click on it and it dropped it straight in. Obviously, again, I need to move it so you can click and drag as desired. If you can obviously leave it like that, I think that actually looks quite nice. But if you do want to kind of change the rotation of it, you come down to the bottom and hit on this little wheel tool and rotate as desired. And then just mess around with it. You can also change the color of that. So leave it highlighted. Again, come up to the color box, pick whatever you like. Maybe this sort of olive color. So obviously now kind of all looks a bit off to one side. If you want to sort of centralize it again, you can click your mouse, drag over everything. As you can see, it's highlighted things. You hit group up here and it'll drag the whole lot around as a unit. If you want to continue editing individual elements, it's kind of handy to hit ungroup again. If you decide you don't want this sort of leaf image that you've dropped in to kind of sit on top of your other design, you can alter the layering of the design. So again, highlight it so it's got this little box around it, come up to the top where it says position, and it will give you all these options as to where you can move that to. So if you want it behind the R, you can just send it to the back, and as you can see, it is now put it behind. You can also just change some of the color font if you want to make something pop a little more. Here is text color at the top. So I've just highlighted that box, come up to where it says text color, click on that, and it brings up the same color menu over here. You can try anything. So you can go for a white, maybe. Sometimes when you do that, you can feel like maybe something like fades into the background a little bit, or you want it to sort of pop a little bit more. One technique I really like for achieving this is this. So you click on the box again so it's highlighted. Come up to the top where it says effects. Click that. And as you see, you've got all these different options, style options. I quite enjoy this one here, which is called lift. So go ahead and click that. And as you see, it just adds a bit of depth to the characters. So if you click out, as you can see now, that stands out much more from the page than it did before. So just to show you again, so if I click undo, you can see that, and if I redo it, see it's just got that extra depth. Now again, you can stop here, it looks really great as it is, and if you do want to do that, you just come up to here where it says share in the top right and choose from your options down there, usually by going to download, and then you can select your file type, probably the JPEG or the PNG depending what you're doing with it. And again, depending where you're putting it, you can choose a transparent background if you pay for the Canva Pro, and just select which page it is that you want to download and then hit download and away you go. But if you're choosing to add a little bit more, maybe you want to add maybe a sort of circle around it, just kind of give it a bit more shape. And that's obviously something that this one has, as you can see, I mean it says circle, but you've got this kind of broken circle around the outside that looks kind of cool. So you can mix the different designs that you had originally that came up over here. If you want to do that, you simply come down to that design, click the item that you want to borrow, and we're going to copy and paste it. So I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to hit Command C, Command V to do that. If you're on a Windows machine, that will be Control C and Control V. So copy, come back up to your working design and hit Command V there to drop it in there, because obviously that's where we're wanting to paste it. And as you see, actually that instantly looks quite nice as to where it's dropped it. Again, you can change the colour if we want to match that olive colour or even the white. I quite like the olive, I think. Yeah, I quite like the olive. And then if you want to fiddle with the rest of your design, you can do that again. Now, because this is dropped in on the top, if you're wondering, oh, I can't click on anything else, again, you need to deal with the layers. So having clicked on your box, you're going to come up again to position, send it to the back, and then as you can see, all these other elements are now clickable, again, for the want of a better word. Okay, if you now maybe decide, oh, or maybe I want to complete my circle with the olive branch, like that. That's quite sweet. Space this out a little bit more, maybe over here or there, or as I say, just leave it as it was. You can also resize by grabbing any of these 4 dots in the corner, clicking and dragging like so. Now, obviously, you could spend hours twiddling and perfecting. It's very tempting to do that. But yeah, there's obviously so many possibilities in Canva, and it's such a fantastic platform, like for novices just starting out. So please don't be afraid of this platform. If you have any extra questions, do drop them in the comments below, because I will try to help out where I can. So yeah, keep messing around, keep playing until you're happy and loving your wedding monogram design logo. I suppose one last thing I'm going to show you is that on the off chance you can't find something like a broken circle really easily, you can create your own. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. I'm going to duplicate this page, and let's just delete out that bit. Okay, so to do that, come back to elements over on the left side. You can potentially type in broken circle, it might come up. Worth searching through your options there. You might find something like little arches like this. You can just select that. Obviously, maybe if you typed semicircle, that would have come up as well. Again, you can resize that. You can rotate that. You can move that. You could leave it there. That's quite attractive again. So you see, as you're going to go kind of going through the process, you might just stumble into kind of designs where you kind of go, oh, I actually quite like it like that, even though it wasn't what you're initially aiming for. But so if you're trying to complete a bit more of the circle, you could copy and paste the semicircle. So again, Command C, Command V, or as I say, Control if you're on a Windows machine. Leave it highlighted, come up to the top where it says flip. You get the opportunity to flip it horizontally or vertically. Horizontally is not going to help you because as you see, that's going to be the same way around. So in this case, it's vertical. So now that's turned it around, click it and drag it. You can do like so. Again, quite like it with a slightly broken element in there. But yeah, if you want to create more of a sort of a partial gap, what I would do is come back over here and maybe pick up just a regular circle. Drop it over where you want that gap to appear. Obviously you can't leave it like this. So leaving this highlighted, you're going to change the colour to match your background colour, like so. So now at least it matches the colour of your background, and as you can see, you've covered up part of that circle, it's broken. But obviously you still need to be able to see these designs behind. If you move it straight to the back and then start to gradually move it forward, it might not do it in the order that you want it to. As you can see here, it started to cover up some of the design I want at the front. So if that happens to you, don't worry about it. Just we'll bring it back to the front and we'll leave it like that. And then what we'll do is we'll manually move the other elements forward again. So I've clicked on this text box with the first initials, move to front, click on your leaves. Okay, now obviously this lower semicircle is currently sat on top of the leaves, so I need to send that backward. And you might have to do that quite a few times until you can see that you can highlight this box again. So now we can do that, we bring it to the front, and as you can see, it's all layered now as we want it to. You can move this back up, twist it around, drag it in. As I said, there were multiple ways that you could have taking out that bit of semicircle. So to do it on this other side, I am just going to show you another way in case you find that easier. So come on over here to where it says draw on the left-hand pane. You see it has some options here. We're going to use this marker. Obviously we do not want it in red. So click on it to highlight that, come down to the color, and it highlights at the top your document colors that are already there. So again, we're going to match our background color. So we're kind of blending it in, as it were. Okay, click out of there. And then you can just come over here and literally draw over the top of where you want that to be. If you go too far and think, oh, I've made an error, I didn't want to do that, you can come up here to the top left where it says undo and simply hit undo and it will put it back in for you. I just want to move up the middle of my design a bit, so I'm going to group the different elements. So obviously you can't do what you did before of just clicking and dragging like this because it will move everything. I just want to move these central 3 items up to the right a touch. Just because, you know, you're probably looking at it and think, oh, that's annoying me. I just really want to be a perfectionist and it's going on all my wedding stationery, etc., etc. So click on one of the items, then hold down your shift key, which is usually on the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard with the upward facing arrow, like the hollow arrow. So press and hold that key down whilst you select the other items. As soon as you release that shift key, you'll see the option come up to group. Then you'll be able to click and drag your design around. So yeah, I want it just that little bit higher, more central like that. Okay, so actually I am going to just inflict on you one more technique because I want you to have all the tools at your disposal. So conceptually, as I say, I've been designing this as a wedding monogram logo. So hypothetically, say you're going to take this person's surname. So maybe you want that B just to like pop slightly more than the rest of the letters. So to do that, you need to first be able to highlight that letter. Now, obviously I've got a whole bunch of stuff sat in the way right now because we grouped this before. You're going to need to click on any of these elements and hit ungroup. So we're going to have to isolate the letter B, otherwise the technique we're going to use will just apply to the whole text box rather than the individual letter. So we're going to duplicate this text box just to isolate the letters. So having clicked on it, again, Command C, Command V, it will duplicate it like so. I'm going to double click in there, delete out the letter J, and the opposite here, I'm going to delete out the letter B. Okay, the sizing is the same because I've just copied and pasted it, so I'm just going to drag this back in. Obviously you've got a bit more flexibility about where you want to position that now, should you wish to. Okay, now we're actually going to leave that B alone. We're going to actually mess with the rest of the lettering. So just to do it all at once, I'm going to group them like we have done in the previous step. So I'm going to click on the first thing, hold down the shift key and select my J. Release, hit group, then just don't do this, but I'm going to show you that they've now isolated like so. Okay, I'm going to just put that back where it was. There we go. Okay, so now you've got those letters highlighted. Come up here to the top where, as you can see when I hover over this, it says transparency. So it's like the checkers board at the top. Hit that. Now, as you can see, we're currently at 100%, so it's not transparent currently. But if you click on that circle and drag it around, as you can see, as you drag it around, it essentially fades into the background slightly. So if you just want that B to pop slightly more, you can do that by just making the other things just fractionally more transparent, or I mean, you can go quite far with it. If you just want it to be subtle, you can leave it somewhere around there, or you can obviously adjust the colours of the text by doing it that way, but I think it personally looks better if you just adjust the transparency on it. So yeah, just something extra to bear in mind. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that there for today, but is there any questions, drop them in the comments box below and I can either try and answer those or maybe create another video for you. As I said before, once you're done, you just come over to here and follow those sharing, saving steps as I showed you partway through the video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, if you give the video a like and do hit subscribe so you don't miss more content like this.